Last Night in Soho is the newest Edgar Wright movie. It is the sixth movie that I've seen of him. This is his first venture into the horror genre. Written and directed by him, stars Thomasin McKenzie, Anya Joy, Matt Smith, Terrence Stamp, and the final film appearances for both Diana Rigg and Margaret Nolan, who both passed away last year. This is also co-written by Edgar Wright and Christy Wilson Cairns, from a story by Edgar Wright himself. Last Night in Soho follows an aspiring fashion director, and she is mysteriously able to enter the 1960s where she encounters a dazzling wannabe singer. However, the glamour is not all it appears to be, and the dreams of the past start to crack and splinter into something dark and more sinister. And so, our main character, Eloise, has to follow the mystery and uncover it. When it comes to Last Night in Soho, this was a movie that I was intrigued to see because Edgar Wright is a very capable director, and it was also an original film from Edgar Wright and him going into a different genre. And as far as his other movies goes, I loved them. His Cornetto trilogy, which consists of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, which is my favorite, I think are really good. I also very much like Scott Pilgrim vs. The World, and The World's End was my least favorite of his Cornetto trilogy, but I still enjoyed it. And Baby Driver I thought was a lot of fun as well. But when it comes to this, I was intrigued because he was directing it, and also because of the two main actresses involved, Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy. Also, just is more of a natality in the horror scenario, like with taking a bunch of blend of psychological jump thriller horror and blending it into one. And this was supposed to come out last year, but of course it did get pushed back, and it did suffer from a very small delay and also some tragedy along the way, with two actors, legendary actors from 007, did pass away. So I finally checked it out last month when it finally came out, and I gotta say, this is one of the more underrated and definitely one of the best horror movies of 2021. Kicking right into the positives, Last Night in Soho, I will say that Edgar Wright, once again, he does deliver on another original film that is very different and very out there from his previous films. Now, of course, Last Night in Soho, this is not going to be a movie for everyone, because it is very different, it is very out there. But that's what I very much like about Edgar Wright, what he was doing. I appreciate the fact that he takes similar horror genres, like Italian horror and psychological horror, and make it into a movie that's ambitious and visually stylish and masterfully directed. And he knows exactly what he's doing here. When it comes to his vision, he is allowed to go into the mystery and to go into some twists and turns along the way, with one who's an aspiring fashion singer and one who was a wannabe singer, and the whole time traveling aspect with this room that lets you go back to the 60s. It's very creative, it's very ambitious, very intriguing is to see, and I think Edgar Wright does that very well, especially in his scripts. Now, of course, there is a flaw when it comes to the script, which we'll get to in the negatives, but the movie also gives you a lot of vibes from Suspiria, the original. Also, cinematography wise, by Chun Hung Chung, is very good. It's a very visually looking film, very visually stunning for the eyes, and it goes for the cinematography, production design aspects that you expect something like this to be. And I will say, I did love the way the production design, costume design, the way the movie looked is visually striking. And performance-wise, we gotta talk about the performances. Of course, Thomasin McKenzie is very good in the role that she has done. Thomasin McKenzie is definitely a rising star between this movie and Old, and I thought she was very great in Jojo Rabbit. Very great performance there. old, I thought she was one of my favorite aspects in it. But seeing her here as this role, Eloise, is much more complex. She just wants to do fashion design, but there's also a lot of layers that are involved with her, which I'm not going to give away. But Thomasin McKenzie did a really good job in the role, and I definitely have to say Thomasin McKenzie is also very beautiful in the role, and she's a very beautiful young actress. So she's great, and I definitely do want to see her do more stuff. And here's a little montage. Obviously, the second lead actress in this movie, Anya Taylor-Joy, obviously, she is a great actress from The Witch and Split and Glass and the Queen's Gambit. She got nominated for a Golden Globe, and Anya Taylor-Joy, she is great here once again. The New Mutants, while I was disappointed with that movie, I thought she was one of the better parts of the film. And Anya Taylor-Joy, she's great in this role as Sandie. She's the wannabe singer who's having to deal with her pimp exclusive boyfriend, played by Matt Smith. And I thought the scenes that they had together were very good. Matt Smith was also pretty solid. This is also the last movie for, of course, Margaret Nolan and, of course, Diana Rigg, who, of course, they did both pass away last year. So this is a nice swan song to both legends. I also thought Terrence Stamp and Michael Idaho were both really good. They did a great jobs in their roles. Of course, when you get to Matt Smith, he is, of course, the pimp character of the story, the abusive guy, but this is how it was back in the 60s back then, so you do have to kind of take or leave exactly what you're getting yourself into. And I gotta say that all the performances in the film I thought were very, very subtle. They all do great what is required of them. I will say the musical score by Stephen Price is very good. It's a very well composed orchestral score. It's creepy, it's on the edge of your seat, and I like the choice of soundtrack that they give for this movie. It definitely gives that 60s vibe to it. And it's there. The 60s vibe is there. I was intrigued by it. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was interesting. And it just went for it in a lot of the more creative side things. Of course, knowing that this is a psychological horror thriller, the horror in this movie is pretty good. When you get to the horrors and the psychological aspects of things, knowing things about the past laying you in, and I did really like what the movie was going for, and it did go into a lot of surprises and twists and turns I actually really liked. And he definitely was a fan, exactly. You could tell Edgar Wright is a fan of horror and he wanted to find a way to be something different. And also, Christy Wilson Kearns, with her as a co-writer, she does what she has to do as far as co-writing goes. It's it's but it's mainly Edgar Wright who is ambition, whose stylistic creation, resurrection, and just when the first two acts they happened very well. The third act, of course, I was actually a fan of it. I know some people don't like this third act. I have seen some reviews of it criticizing it, and I will say things are a little too easy in the third act, but at the same time, I was interested to see where things were gonna go. You get the sense that you're following Eloise as you want to follow this journey with her, and you get the sense that she's scared. She doesn't know what's happening, and you get exactly what's wanted there. So it definitely gives you a lot of horror moments, a lot of intense moments, and Between this and Malignant, I've been getting a lot of Italian horror vibes from these two. But just from a visual level, an acting level, and an ambition level, I think this movie succeeds on all cylinders. Of course, as I have said, the script is not 100%. I will say it is a script, but there are some moments where I feel like some characters and does get a little underutilized. They, granted, it is about Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Joy and their whole situation, but it's mainly Thomasin's a movie. I will say that the main aspect of the movie I did kind of wish they would kind of focus on a little bit more. Even though this movie is almost 2 hours, which is under 2 hours, I will say there are some characters and this whole friendship between Thomasin McKenzie and the Michael Iaho character. It was a good friendship, but it wasn't really dwelled on more as I felt like it should have. It did kind of lose a little bit of its momentum after a while. And I will say there were some moments where, while the movie was not boring, there's just maybe two moments where the pacing is just a little bit slow, a tiny bit slow. It's not like I was bored or anything. It gets you in and out for the runtime it is. And when you get into the third act, while I was very much a fan of the third act, I will say yes, like I said, it does wrap up a little too easily. Like, there could have been a little bit more repercussions of what happened with the third act, but the way this movie chose to go about the ending of this movie was ambitious. You do have to give credit to Edgar Wright for actually going with that. Whether you like the movie or heavy, you do have to give the movie a little bit of ambitiousness for what it was trying to do. And I will say maybe this is more of a nitpick with people himself when it comes to this. You people complain that you want more original horror movies like this and more original movies like The Green Knight and The Last Duel, but yet people are actually not taking the time and actually going to see them. Therefore, you're kind of missing out on something that is ambitious, but at the same time, you're just basically letting this movie, doing this movie a huge disservice when it comes to its box office, because this should be way more seen by a lot more people. And I will say that's just a small little nitpick there. But other than that, there's not really much more I can nitpick about. Overall, Last Night in Soho, Edgar Wright, he has succeeded in what he set out to do. He has done it again, delivering another masterfully well done original film that is very ambitious, visually stylish, and masterfully directed with excellent performances from this cast. It's definitely not perfect. It does have a few issues there, and it's not going to be for everyone, but I thought this movie was actually very well done, and I'm going to give Last Night in Soho an Epictastic. Definitely deserves more recognition than it is getting. So in the comment section down below, what did you guys think of Last Night in Soho? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere right in the middle? Or did you like the ending? What is your favorite and least favorite Edgar Wright film? In the description box, let me know. Please be sure to like this video, comment on this video, share it, as well as hit the subscribe button and notification bell to get notified when more videos like this are up, because it does help with the channel, it does help the channel grow, and it does help with the algorithm and the views on this. So I do apologize that this is a little bit of a late review. I've been busy with some filming and editing other videos, so if you'd like to send money to my Cash App, or you want to send any fan mail from my Amazon, you can get in touch with me privately or email me to do either one of those. All my social media links are in the description box down below. I will see you guys in the next video. You guys keep it cool, join the Epictasticness, and definitely gives the support it needs.